Slovakia Chronicles, a podcast of information, news and much more of our beloved Slovakia. By Andrea Paolo Mazzucchetti. It's me! Let's start. Hello everyone, welcome to the 12th episode of the Slovakia Chronicle podcast. Summer, hot weather and sun. This explosive combination, together with the release of the restriction measures, can just make me to say, let's the party start! Of course, there are still many restrictions for the big event especially, but it seems that slowly the big amount of events that you can find on Facebook pre-pandemic are coming back. An institution for the event organization that everybody knows in Bratislava is for sure the InterNations community. And today, in this episode, I have the pleasure to host one of the most active ambassadors of this community that helps foreigners to discover the social life in Bratislava, Diego Loyola. So, have a drink, call your expert friends and listen to the experience of one of the masters of event organization. Welcome, Diego, to my podcast, to Slovakia Chronicle. Thank you to be here. It's really a pleasure to have you.
Nice to be here.
I love what you are doing for the foreign people. So I met a lot of friends from this event. So I would like that your would be more visible, for foreign people. So more people will come. And
yeah, so far it's nice though. I can't complain. It really helps out, and I'm very happy about that.
Yeah. Exactly. So I let you space to introduce yourself first, and then we can start our discussion.
Okay, so I'm Diego Loyola. So I've been here, almost over 10 years now, living in Slovakia. Mm-hmm. And I'm from Ecuador, and I came here because of my wife. She's Slovak, so we came here also to be close to her family. And I think, even sometimes it's surprising when I think about the time, but I guess I'm on to my 8th year working as an InterNations ambassador as well. Mm-hmm. So time has flown by. But I work here, have my family, and also as a hobby, I like to organize events. So mm-hmm. I do this under the InterNations banner.
Okay. And now that you are here from a long time, I think you have experience to tell me what was the evolution of this, of the foreign community, and I don't know, maybe there was some difficulties in the beginning. What is your point of view?
Well, again, at the beginning, I would have to say that I tried to generalize a lot. Mm-hmm. I was always maybe under the impression that my experience is like everyone's experience, if you can say. But mm-hmm. then especially because of InterNations, the events I organize, I get to meet to so many people, different backgrounds, different situations in life. Then I just realized that I guess my experience relates to more a person who came here because of your partner, mm-hmm. and then raised a family. So that's kind of like my experience, my point of view. I met many other different experiences, or people who have come from different. They came for a job. They came because of their studies, and then they eventually decided to stay here, and so on. So all those experiences are different. I guess in a general way, of course, compared to 10 years ago, there are many more foreigners than before. Okay. But also the city grew quite a lot. I mean, when I first came in here, the newest mall was Au Park at that time. Eurovia was still being built.
Okay.
So many things kind of were different, but I think even so far, maybe thankfully, I like that. I don't like that things are generalized. I don't like that things are personally, I always like when things are different, when cities are different, the cultures remain they maintain their history, the old one. So that's kind of, I think it changed not so much. I think so, from my point of view.
Okay.
You have your Starbucks, you have a lot of McDonald's and all that, but still many people, you still see a lot of the Slovak culture and the Slovak way of being here. Kind of like sometimes people say that it's sometimes like an island of Europe, because like people tend to cross. They just cross. They go from Poland to Czech. They go from Hungary to Austria, and somehow Slovakia gets passed out. But so, I mean, trying to think about it, yeah, things change. There are more people, more foreigners, but not so much. I think a lot of the culture, a lot of the way of people are, how Slovaks are, has remained.
Okay.
Can't say so much of that, yeah.
So the culture remain, but the people, like foreign people, arrive more, I would say.
Yeah. They arrive more, but no, I mean, I didn't have any problems when I came. Again, obviously, I had the fortune, like my wife, she would help me out with translation, so I didn't have problems with the language to begin with, which obviously can be very frustrating for if you don't have anybody who can help you.
Exactly, I have the same issue still.
But, so in that sense, no, and I mean, obviously, what always comes down to, it's kind of like I try to understand a lot the culture. I understand how things are done here, rather than try to be like, why aren't they like my culture, I try not to be like that, because I am here, I am in Slovakia, I am in this country, their culture, so I try to adapt more. And
Okay. And why do you decide to become an ambassador, especially for InterNations?
Yeah, that was always a funny story I tell the people, because not originally, but like I know about myself, learning about myself. I'm a very introvert person. I always tell people I'm a shy person and all that, and they don't believe me because like, yeah, right.
I can understand.
Yeah, but naturally I'm introvert. I like I don't know, even the sports I play, they're not team sports. I like tennis or hiking or biking, which is like you're just not always in groups. You can be alone. But no, the main thing at that point was happening was that groups in Facebook were starting to be created. They weren't so popular, like foreigners in Bratislava or things like that. Many groups you can find now, but at that point there weren't that many. And the main issue was that people would complain, or they had this big joke. Maybe they still do, but it was a very popular joke. Like, what is the best thing about Bratislava? That it's very close to Vienna. Like, that's it. And
you can even say now, for some point of view.
So people complain a lot that there's nothing to do. It's boring. It's a boring city. And again, I like to find out things. And I was seeing. I was already 2 and some years already here in Bratislava. But I saw that things were happening. I saw that the city is very active. Every time you go to city center, there were some concerts, there were some activities, there was always something happening, some festivals, food festivals. But I did realize that if you didn't know Slovak, there was no way you could find out. There a lot of things. Now it has changed a bit, yeah, sure, but previously everything was in Slovak. Everything was in Slovak, and just super hard to find things or to know about events. So I felt, obviously, you don't like Bratislava. People are not happy about it because there's no way for you to find out where to go, what to do. So obviously it can be boring. That was how it started. So basically I said, and then complaining kept coming, and I finally said, well, let's not complain about it, let's do something about it. And InterNations already was here in Bratislava, but the ambassadors they weren't organizing events that often. They kept quitting. They kept like doing 1 or 2 events, and then they dropped off. So I was just like, fine, let's do it. I'll organize them. Nobody wants to organize it. I'll organize it. And that's kind of how I became an ambassador. And my first event, like 10 people came, and that was like amazing. I was shocked. I was like, 10 people came to something I organized. Like, wow, and yeah, that's how it started. Then eventually I kept going, and just now we organize events once a month. And at one point in InterNations, we were organizing one event a week. That was crazy.
Wow.
That was very, very crazy. We organized so many events. But so, yeah, that's how it started now. It's more than 7 years ago.
Yeah, exactly. And I want to ask you about how you created your community. So you use the social network, I imagine, to spread your voice about your events.
No, luckily I had a I was very fortunate, I would say, because of InterNations. It's a global community, the whole website, internations.org. And it was because of that. Back then we started with about 300. There were about 300 members in the whole Bratislava. Now we're over 4,000. So it's been nice. Yeah. I think what they do best, they really do best is their promotion. They're like they improved a lot for Google search. So if you type something like expat Bratislava, InterNations always appears kind of first in Google. So I really didn't have to do much. Internet, the website itself was already bringing people.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, for a while also I pushed a lot. Then I pushed a lot on Facebook and all. But I still have to say the most people usually find about me from the website.
Yeah. And about the foreign community, from where they are coming from, more often. I don't know, I think, for example, from America.
I don't know now, to be honest. I kind of lost track now how many, where most are coming. Obviously, at that time, what started was always because of work, like Volkswagen, things like that. They were hiring temporary workers. So obviously you had mostly from Ukraine and all. But if you remember, around 2010, we still had the economic crisis.
Yeah.
So actually there was a huge influx of people from Spain and also Italy because of the issues with it was very hard to find jobs at that time.
Exactly. So, I know something.
Yeah, So I remember because of that there was a huge influx of people who came from Western Europe. Americans, don't remember so much. I don't even know if many come now to say, but yeah, I've seen it. Then Erasmus became really big also. They started getting big groups in the coming years. And this moment in time, I don't know where the most...
so I can say my experience that I'm here for 4 years. But I can see that there are a lot of people are coming also from other countries, not beside Europe, but also outside Europe. Okay, from China, but also from America. From South America a lot, and it's something cool. I mean, I like diversity, so this is something that I really appreciate about this. So I don't know. I think this is one of the safe country to come for job for the moment, at least in Europe. So there are still development here.
I think also like Slovakia itself, they pushed very hard into this on to promoting that it still is a country where as a business the salaries are not that high compared to Austria or Germany. So if you're looking for employees, it's not going to be that costly, right? But you're still very close on time zones, with access to by plane or transportation, things like that. So they pushed very, very hard for that, and they did good. So that other people were interested. Many the huge competition was always with Poland, Romania, and also in some parts like also India. But India was it's much cheaper labor, but the time difference it's much longer. And so Slovakia made good. I mean, then Jaguar Land Rover came, and even before now the crisis with the coronavirus and all. It was actually becoming very difficult to find employees. I mean, people were having a hard time because the employment was very low here. It was very attractive for people to come.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm also here for this reason.
Yeah.
And I want to ask you for now you were talking about the coronavirus period that was
Mhm.
like crazy for everybody. So I imagine also for your activities was also affecting. Did you do something during this period, or I don't know, you stopped because it was not possible?
Yeah, well, actually, the experience was that from this past 7 years, and
Mm-hmm.
from doing events once a month and I can tell you that I've done so many kind of events. We've done fashion shows, food tastings, learn how to cook certain food, wine
Mm-hmm.
tastings, kind of trips. I mean, yeah, I think we tried so many things, and that kind of like I learned.
Mm-hmm.
I eventually learned. I learned that like InterNations is not really. You cannot be general. You cannot be an event that gears for everybody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the young one, the Erasmus type, the university person wants to have more fun, wants to dance, while the older, like around my age, we want to
Mm-hmm.
just have more conversation and not so crazy or something like that. So I kind of learned that, okay, I learned to accept that there's a certain group, there's a certain demographic
Mm-hmm.
that are more attracted to InterNations than other demographics. And in that sense, also kind of learned that, all right, so online events, they're not so interested. Sports, not so much. They are really at its core. The people who come to InterNations, they want to just socialize, meet new people face to
Mm-hmm.
face.
Okay.
So then, yeah, with this issue with the coronavirus, basically, I knew that there is no other option that I can try. If
Yeah.
I do online or something like that, it would not be so interesting for people. So, it's fine.
It makes sense.
We just wait. Yeah, we're just waiting, and now we're getting back again on the 25th. We're coming
Mm-hmm.
back again to with events. So, yeah, it will be nice again. We
Yeah,
just took a small
exactly.
break. Yeah.
Exactly. And I'm very interesting to understand how you created your events.
Hmm.
Because I don't know, I think I don't know, or you have like some agreement already with some places, or I don't know, I don't know, sit with the other ambassador and discuss what will be good according to
Yeah.
statistics. I don't know how you you create it.
Well, also, it has changed a lot. It has evolved a lot, InterNations, to what we used to be before. Because when we first started, my main goal also was trying to let's try multiple venues, let's try multiple places at once. And it can be difficult because a lot of owners, bar owners, they don't know about you, and they don't know what to expect. They don't know what is this about, right?
Mm-hmm.
And some of course they're with it's understandably a lot of them are interested with what is the return, what do they get in return.
Of
I
course.
always was saying it's marketing, people will hear about you. Some cared, some were
Mm-hmm.
interested, some were already, they have their customers, and they would be like, well, why should I close half of my bar on a Friday night when I can make the most business for your group, where I may or may not make my business.
Yeah.
Understandable. So it was difficult. It's difficult with some, and eventually also, like, having my full-time job and with family and all that, it makes it more complex to be out on every venue and trying to agree. So
Mm-hmm.
that we started at that. We at the beginning we started with different venues, and we spoke to the owners. Let's agree. We're gonna do this event for some time to some time, and then, but eventually we just kind of like we had certain venues during the year.
Mm-hmm.
So when it's winter time, we're kind of like closed. We go to this place kind of like Simply,
Mm-hmm.
or related to that, now that it's getting warmer. So in July, we're planning to do again in the rooftop. So it's much nicer for people out. So that's
Yeah.
that's kind of how it works. And usually it takes about maybe 3 times to do an event in a venue. Then the owners already know how it works,
What to expect.
what to expect from the event, and if it's nice, if the people, the members of InterNations like the venue.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a lot of times, like I said, you cannot please everybody.
Of
Some
course.
venues people would not like. People are just going to be like, I don't like it, or it's too fancy, or it's not fancy, or this and that. Okay, But to please the majority, we remain with the certain venues that we have now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And how InterNation is working? Like, you need to pay a fee per year for maintain your subscription.
There are also InterNations, the website itself, the community, they offer it. They do it in two ways, where it's free membership. You can just join InterNations and attend the monthly events, or you can just get a premium membership where you can also join some other activities, multiple more activities. I don't know, like sport activities or other get-togethers that are organized. They call it activities compared to monthly. So you have those two options, right? And I've seen it that also InterNations really depends on the city you're in, because I've seen that, for example, Austria, they really are, many of them are premium members and all that, because they create more activities. But in Bratislava, because of how small community we are compared to a Vienna community, just people sign up for the basic membership, and that's fine. Still get to join. It's been okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's how it works.
Okay. And what are your future plans?
Well, like I said, not future plans. I would say current plans, actually, which was, I think at the beginning I was like that, like there's that saying, throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. So we tried multiple type of events, and we saw what works. At least personally, the kind of events that I like to do, and the events that I see that a lot of people see. In InterNations, it's not only foreigners that attend. You've seen it. I think we have like half of Slovaks, half foreigners come in. So, but for the members that come to InterNations, the events they like the most are the social events that I do once a month, and quiz nights. When I organize these quiz events and all that, trivia nights.
I've been there. Super cool that was.
Yeah. So they're very popular. So we tend to go with them. We tend to stick to them. I also, again, from experience, at least from my target demographic, I don't see events growing bigger than that. I tried, even when you put the most effort, the maximum we would get was 150, but it was just so complex, so draining, so tiresome, that there's no way that you can do the same event every month like that. It's just too much work. And so, at the end, I always said, and my co-ambassador, Barbara, she's Slovak, I also explained the same to her. It's like, when you come in with too much, you try to do too much, when you put so much effort onto it, and you have to do it every month, just like a lot of things, you will burn out. And I never wanted that. I don't want to be that. It will be the best events for 3 months, and then I just don't want to do anything. So, in that sense, we kind of we try to be stable. I don't see myself in the future that we will be bigger, which is fine. I consider InterNations events actually, they're like a gateway. We're like the welcoming, the entrance to Slovakia. So most of the people who come to InterNations are Slovaks who were living abroad, and now they're here, and they wanna meet other people from other cultures, or they wanna practice their English, or foreigners who are just arriving in Bratislava. They don't know anybody. They wanna make friends. So InterNations, the events we do, they're very nice for that. You get to meet some new people, you get to make new friends. But I just understand my events are not the ones where you will be coming every month. It's just how it is.
Yeah, exactly.
But it's not. At least I'm glad that you came, you met people, and now you will organize your own things. You will meet with them eventually. That's pretty much how.
It's like an onboarding.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm just happy for that. You made new friends, and now you can enjoy more of Bratislava. So. Yeah, future plans, I think I would like to continue the same. I would like to continue organizing events monthly. But from what I've seen for the past 7 years, I don't think they will become bigger. Just But at the same time,
hope for you. I mean, like I hope for you because this one is super cool activity and means that if you become bigger, means that of course the people like your activities plus and plus they are coming more from abroad.
That could be. No. But also, I tell you one thing that at least I can look at it from the other point of view, that I've seen so many other groups, so many other events come and go. So many other ones, and at least I'm like, well, I'm still here.
Still surviving.
It's not easy.
No,
Bratislava is not an easy. It's not expat centric, like I was saying. Like Austria, wow. I mean, an InterNations event, you get like 500 people. I've been there to a couple of times. They're huge events, and because they're very active. Expats are super active. There are many more, and they want to do things. And in here, just like I said, I'm not trying to push my ideology, my ideas. I accept how Bratislava is, and it is nice. I mean, we don't have like a little Italy or little Brazil or a Chinatown in Bratislava. Why? Because everybody is everywhere. And that's kind of nice too, because that means that we are accepted between Slovaks, that we are in different neighborhoods and all that. So it's nice.
Yeah, definitely, yes. Okay, so thank you very much for this discussion. So I like it very much. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for having me.
Okay.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you very much to Diego for these amazing tips to how to have fun after this sad period of lockdown. Have a look on the InterNations community on Facebook to be always updated on the news events. If you like our conversation, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel or to follow my podcast on the most famous podcast host. Thank you to be part of the Slovakia Chronicle family and stay safe.